Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Justin with Nova Ryu BJJ, and today's video I was going to talk a little about gi versus no gi and kind of an offshoot of that, this novel training method, at least to me, that I think is at the very least underutilized in jiu-jitsu training. So gi versus no gi is one of those like infamous, real contested points in jiu-jitsu, one of these arguments that's been going on as long as I've been doing jiu-jitsu. And when I first started, the traditionalist at that time, really, the party line was that gi was the much more technical version of jiu-jitsu, and no gi was for the overly athletic, kind of boneheaded practitioners that just wanted to, use muscle and go fast, and wasn't as technical. And I don't think that has held up well. That I think is a myth overall. I think it's true that no-gi in general is a faster game, and it's also true that you don't have the same technicality as far as the grips. Obviously, you're not gripping onto a gi in no-gi, but there's a lot of nuance and technicality to no-gi. There are people now who say that the gi has no real purpose or value in jiu-jitsu anymore, and really it's only ADCC rule set and no gi that is fun to watch and is optically it's better than gi grappling, and people doing gi grappling are just doing silly pajama wrestling, etc., etc. So both sides have their points, and I think that this video, I think that subject of is gi better or is no gi better has kind of been beat to death in some capacities. So this video isn't necessarily to answer which is better, because I think they each have their place. I don't think that one is strictly better than the other. Both gi and no gi, in my estimation, have things that they bring to the table or they can add to your game. I think, for example, that if you're interested in self-defense, being able to utilize grips and clothing offensively as a weapon, like using the gi or the jacket for throws, has obvious utility. And I also think that there's a benefit to learning how to deal with somebody else using your jacket or your clothes to control you, to get handholds on you and move you around. And if you've never experienced that, then that could throw you off a little bit if you were to get into a self-defense situation or street altercation and you've never trained that way. I also think from an aesthetic standpoint, if you're a judoka or if you're somebody who's done traditional martial arts or karate in the past, the gi is appealing for some of those aesthetic reasons. No gi, I do think, forces you to tighten up your game. Without having the benefit of the gi to rely on, I do think that you're forced to use body positioning and frames to a slightly higher level in certain capacities, and I think there's usefulness to learning how to do that. And then again, if your background is in wrestling, there's some obvious spillover in terms of your skill set, and so that might just be more appealing to you if you're a wrestler to do no gi. Okay, so all that's well and good. I'm a big fan, though, of those things in jiu-jitsu that pressure test your game and sort of force you to think outside the box. And I think jiu-jitsu is a really great art for creativity. It's not constrained by these are the 10 katas or the 15 techniques of jiu-jitsu. Constantly, all the time, people are developing things for jiu-jitsu, new techniques, new guards, new this, new that. And sometimes it's kind of silly, but just the idea that you can impart some of your game and it becomes a permanent aspect of the art is pretty cool. And just that it fosters that creativity, I think, is a real benefit of jiu-jitsu. One of the drills that evolved when I first started training with my brother, so it was just the two of us, like with some VHS tapes in the late 90s and a garage and a couple of mats. He liked no gi at the time more, and I liked gi more, and so a lot of times we'd end up doing what I like to call, after a lot of thought, gi no gi. So I would be wearing the gi, he would be wearing rash guard and shorts, and that's how we do our matches. And it's actually a really cool way to train, because it opens up your eyes to, okay, I've got this gi and maybe I can use it to employ the lapels to put on a choke, but I can't control my opponent that way. He's going to be much faster than I am, and he's going to be able to control me a little bit easier. And at the time we were doing this, we were watching like the UFCs, like the Hoist Gracie UFCs, the old school UFCs, where he was wearing a gi against people that were shirtless or were not wearing jiu-jitsu attire, and strikes were involved, and so like we didn't really think it was that novel or weird. We just thought that was you might do jiu-jitsu that way, and I still use that training method to this day. I don't think I necessarily invented it or that we invented it, but I would advise anybody who's interested in both gi or no gi or just one or the other, whatever it is, if you're interested in jiu-jitsu, I would do gi no gi training. It is really eye-opening, and you do get used to contending with the idea that, okay, my opponent can control me in a way that I can't control him. And you can do different variations of the training too. So player A, for instance, wearing the gi, player B wearing a rash guard and shorts. Maybe player A can't use their gi in any fashion, so they can't even use their own gi to control or use chokes. They can't do any grips of any kind, whereas player B, the no-gi person, can grip their opponent's gi and use it for chokes and such. Or you could do it where anybody can grab the gi, including player A who's wearing it. Again, there's just different ways to set this up, but it is a pretty cool way to sort of add a new element to your jiu-jitsu training. It is hard. It makes it a lot more difficult, and I think part of that is the physical nature of it, right? That somebody has tools at their disposal that you don't. But part of it is just that mental switch where you're contending with something that is new, that you haven't done before. So I'd advise you all to at least try that out and see what you think about it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys next time.